I've wasted a lot of time in my photography journey seeking validation, looking for feedback in places and from people who ultimately didn't matter. And so much energy went to that when it could have gone to learning how to properly develop a perspective and a creative vision. And I think it's time that I share what I've learned with you.
One, two, get down. Get down. Two, one, two, get down.
What is the deal, beautiful people? My name is Ramon. Welcome to my channel. Here we talk about any and everything photography. Today's topic is validation, seeking validation. Such a polarizing topic, and I think it's one that really affects a lot of us in ways that, well, we don't even understand we're being affected. And I think it's important to sort of lay everything down on the table and talk through it. From my perspective, and I want to believe for most people, social media is at the center of this topic about validation. People seek validation on social media, and I'm talking about photographers here, and it's a very understandable thing to do because you as an artist, you create and you would like to receive some positive affirmation on your work. You want to know that the work you're doing is affecting people, however it affects them or however you would like it to affect them. You want to know the work's effective. And in today's world, social media is not only one of the easiest ways to do this, but arguably one of the most potent ways to do so. And seeking validation on social media can really send you down a dark path. I think it's important to understand that when you put your work out there, you know, on your Instagrams, on your Facebooks, and you use your hashtags and you start tagging these feature accounts, when you open yourself to that level of criticism, that level of exposure, you need to remember that feedback comes in various forms. There is constructive criticism, there is positive affirmation, there's just jackassness, assholeism. There's this wide spectrum of what that feedback could look like. And I think we all have to dial back our expectation of what that feedback looks like and how really authentic the feedback is. What I mean by that is you could quite possibly be putting out work that suck, and you could very well get the feedback that's written in an articulate way saying why this work is ineffective or isn't good. And that's okay. But mostly what you'll find is people who are critiquing your work aren't doing so to the standards of critique, right? They aren't qualified to critique. They don't know how to critique. They don't have structure to critique. And the feedback you get in that type of scenario really isn't constructive, and it can be very, very harmful, really. And then you've got just your middle of the road feedback, right? Like, oh, this is cool. Like, that's it. I went out in 10-degree weather to capture this image, purposefully visualize what I wanted, and this is cool. You know what I mean? Like, there's all these different avenues for disappointment and aggravation and just anger if you don't curb your expectation of the feedback that you could get. And ultimately that leads to the validation, and it leads to such a strong argument for you shouldn't really be seeking validation from such an ambiguous platform. You should be seeking validation from respected people in the industry who understand the artistic vision, who understand the context behind it, who understand the time and energy that goes into making it. That's where you usually, or I would say, you should be looking for your validation. not on social media. So I said a fairly big word there, context. I think as photographers, I'm going to blanket us all here, we do a piss poor job at providing context. And because of this, a lot of our work isn't received well. And I mean, I'm separating this from, we all do mediocre work. But even you go, a broken clock is right 2 times a day. We, with the camera and with effort and hours put in, at some point in time, we're all gonna do something that's truly amazing. I really believe that. However, that's only one part of the process. You have to drive home the context of your work, how it's important, why it's important, when will it be important, where can it be important, who is this for, who should resonate with this vision, who can resonate with the story you're trying to tell. These things need to be explained. And when you go to museums and you see artwork hanging, there's always this little paragraph with some sort of context to the actual piece. And that's really stepping stones to walk you through the artist's perspective on how, where, when, and why they got here to this initial work. And we need to do a very good job at providing context, because that immediately interacts with the feedback we get and the validation. And talking about validation, again, going back to that point that feedback can make or break your experience with validation, the more context you provide, I think the more healthy the validation, right? Because you have sort of a baseline to weed out the negative feedback and say, that doesn't matter. And then you also, you have a pretty good perspective on where and how to seek that validation, if that makes sense. Your art is about you. And I know this is such a cliche thing to say. We've seen it so many different places. However, this particular point could not be more true. It could not be more authentic. I think it's spot on. When creating for yourself, when embarking on a photo walk, a photo shoot, a photo project, photo essays, you need to have a direction. All right, let's be honest. Most days we just grab the camera and go. Fine. There are a lot of people out there who get amazing work by just winging it because they have amazing subjects or they have amazing locale, whatever. I often believe taking the more methodical approach of sitting down, thinking about your locale, thinking about your subject, thinking about what you could be doing, and sort of forming some bullet points around it, some structure around it, gives you this advantage of forming a vision of where you want to go. And in doing so, it is super important that you remember this is your vision, your creative direction. This is your perspective. And in doing that, I think it sort of grounds you, and it brings you back to ground zero, where no matter what happens, no matter what I produce today in this project, in this photo series, no matter the results, this was for me. And as long as I look back at my list of bullet points, of structure, of where I wanted to go, and I have satisfied that list, then I'm okay with the outcome. And once you get that level of swag, that level of confidence, that absolute completion about your work, then you're probably going to seek less validation, because you have already validated this work for yourself. And anyone else out there who has something great to say about it becomes icing on the cake. Do you get me there? This conversation, this topic is not an easy one for me. I'm something like 8 years into photography as a hobby, and damn near as a semi-pro photographer. I guess I could say professional, right? Because I do make money. I think it's important to put this in perspective that I'm not just talking about these things from left field. These are things where I've had so many different roadblocks and lessons and just insecurities as an artist, as a photographer, and I've had to sit back and write things down, and I've had to analyze how, where, and why I've got where I got, and why I'm not happy with the results, or why I am happy with the results. And this list of things I'm talking about here have been over 5 years in the making, and now I'm at the place where not only have I done the soul searching and the hard work to figure out why it sucked, why it was amazing, how could I have done this better, how can I change my approach, but I can talk about it. I'm more comfortable to talk about it. And I would love for you guys in the comment section below to share your experiences, because I believe that this topic about validation and feedback is something that we all struggle with. And I feel like if you feel like you haven't experienced it yet, I would love for the points in this video to be a baseline that when you do encounter it, you know, I've already put some stepping stones down. Hopefully they can help you navigate, and hopefully whatever else the community can contribute in the comment section can build a much better picture for you. I would really love for that to happen. Like the video if you like it. You can dislike it, that's okay as well. Don't forget to subscribe, because we have plenty more content. And when I say we, I have plenty more content coming in the future, and I would love to have you guys on board. Before I go, I get it. This is a heavy theoretical video, and it's kind of one of those things where it may click to some people based on where they are in their photography career or their photography journey, and it may not click to others. It may sound like I just said a whole lot of nothing. But if you're sort of in this murky area where you kind of get it, but you don't, it's kind of applicable to you, but it's not, or you're really deep in it and it really bothers you, you can't find a way out, I had a thought, and here's where I would like to guide you. Come up with a mini project, if you will, a photo series. Let's call it a photo series of 5 to 10 images. I don't care what it is, just on paper, find something you can do for a photo series, something around the house, a subject, a family member, a wife, or whatever, or do some street photography, some landscape, whatever it is, and give that project a meaning. 3 bullet points of the inspiration for this project, the purpose for this project, and who you want this project to resonate with, or the feeling you want to come across. And then go out and do this project. Set a timeline of a month, no more than a month, 5 to 10 images, and do all your fun stuff. Go out, shoot it, come back, edit it, and sort of put together this little portfolio, your 5 to 10 images, right? And then look at that. Sit back, reflect, enjoy it. But do not share it. Do not share this project. And every time you feel the urge, you feel the need, like, oh my God, this is dope shit, somebody's got to see it. Do not. Because that's that validation we're talking about. Every time you feel the urge to share it, sit back down on your couch and look at those images some more and appreciate them some more. That's all the validation you need. And hopefully that exercise of the fight and the need to share versus, no, it's good enough for me, I'm happy here, will sort of clue you into the discipline. And I'm not saying that in the future you shouldn't be sharing your work, or you're not going to be sharing your work, but the topic here is validation, when and how to seek it. Is it healthy? Can it be healthy? Is it as destructive as we think it is? I think it's a mixture of all these things. And if you're really struggling, learning how to, first of all, learning what that impulse is, right? Like, oh, I got to share this is helpful. And then learning how to curb it, like, no, I'm not sharing this. This was just for me, teaches you the appreciation. And then it reminds you, hang on, in those 3 bullet points that I listed, not one of them was to create bangers for Instagram. So I've already sufficed the project. Let me know. Leave the comments below if you choose to embark on this mini project. I would love for you to come back and send me some links to it. You can reach out to me on Instagram or Twitter or wherever, links always in the description down below. I would love to see what you come up with. My name is Ramon. I'm out of here. Peace.
1, 2, get down.